How has sort of the challenges of a TV planner changed?
I think that the challenges are there. I don't think anybody has kind of fully wrestled with them yet and come up with an answer to it. There's no doubt that VOD, video on demand, and all its guises is impacting upon what our consumers are watching and how we're responding to that as an industry. So it's definitely on a lot more plans this year than last year, and it'll be on a lot more plans next year than this year. In terms of how we're actually kind of tackling that from planning of all television, it comes in a number of ways. With many clients, there's still a job to do, convince them that video on demand is a legitimate form of television. You know, there's still that sort of practical issue of talking to clients and can we over some prejudices and perceived issues they have, and to get them to accept that this is what their consumers are watching, and they need to be where their consumers are. For other clients that are a bit further along that decision-making process and are active in the VOD space, then we're definitely having to up our game in terms of how we bring data and intelligence and an insight into how VOD sits within the overall media sphere to their planning. So they've long expected us to be able to plan television, radio, out of home, print, etc. alongside each other, and to understand how these media work together. And I think the big challenge that we're grappling with right now is how we do that with VOD, because the amount of data that exists with VOD in such a new medium isn't as great as it is with the traditional media. So getting our sort of holistic internal planning tools to work so that we can come up with a rounded view of VOD, what it does, how it sits alongside other media, what its strengths and weaknesses are, is I think something that we're cracking this year with our clients. And I think that's a big step forward for VOD. One of the issues that many advertisers are grappling with VOD is the price. Television, regular linear TV has it's been sort of pretty stable in terms of its price for a decade or so in the UK, and is seen as pretty good value. I think a lot of the VOD that many advertisers are buying into, particularly in the first instance, the VOD supplied by traditional broadcasters in the UK and sit on their various players, etc. That's generally at a significant premium to the price they're used to paying for regular television. And it's also priced in a different way. In the UK, we've got this fairly well established but idiosyncratic station average price system for television, which is fairly unique to us and to our market, whereas VOD is just a regular CPM buy. And so it looks and feels very different, and is often a lot more expensive for advertisers. And so understanding the reasons behind that, in the UK, partly it's still down to a lack of supply, especially around premium content. And what VOD can do for advertisers, in addition to and alongside their regular TV buys, is something I think the industry is still grappling with and has a lot to prove. Programmatic buying is definitely something that is already part of the VOD landscape and is only going to be growing. We are massively enthusiastic about programmatic buying, not so much from the pure automation side. There are some benefits there, but it's really about the richness you can add to the buying, the data you can add to give greater effect, greater efficiency, greater ROI to clients, and untapping audiences that traditional TV hasn't really been able to serve as discreetly as VOD can now and moving forward. And that's true of all digital inventory that we're buying for clients, and VOD being relatively new as an inventory source is obviously something that we are tackling with gusto from a programmatic point of view. There are a number of challenges in this market. It's still pretty fragmented as a marketplace, so getting that marketplace to work together to embrace programmatic. A lot of the big broadcasters have a stranglehold on a lot of the quality premium content and are reluctant to get involved with programmatic buying at this point, but that's something that we believe will change over time. In the next 12 months, I think the important trends in online video is going to be advertisers being able to access premium content. I think brand safe content is going to be an increasing issue. It's already an issue, but as VOD grows, as we expect it to do in the next 12 months in terms of consumer eyeballs and advertising spend, it's going to need to be more accountable. It happens in every medium's sort of growth cycle, a point where if you like, some of the real world issues catch up with the hope and expectation that kind of leads the way. And I really think that's going to be a big issue over the next 12 months. But I'm confident as well that the VOD industry and all the players that are around it and involved with it can rise to that challenge. We're definitely seeing some shares of advertising budgets being shifted from broadcast and into online video. And I think there are a number of reasons for that. You can't get away from the fact that it is a new phenomenon, and so people are still in the trial phase. They're adding it to their schedules because they see their consumers are watching this video. They understand the kind of the headline facts and figures around viewing to traditional linear television, which is holding up pretty well, but there are definitely some migration and some additional viewing happening in the online video space. And they want to be where the eyeballs are, so they're moving some budgets there. We're definitely seeing kind of a smart use of VOD still underpinning a lot of campaigns. Be that an understanding of being able to reach some discrete audiences that traditional television campaigns can't reach, so extending the reach of those, or maybe being able to target some subsets of consumers that are more readily available through VOD buying than it would be through linear buying. Or it may even be some categories. In the UK, there are category restrictions around alcohol and gambling and medicines, etc., which if you can get into a very targeted online environment through video, then that makes a very rich media proposition, I think. So there are lots of kind of good reasons why people are using digital video alongside of, sometimes even instead of linear TV. I think so we're still seeing budgets being top sliced from broadcast budgets in many instances. Now there are online video ad levels are still rising, significantly up 40-something% last year, and they'll be up again massively this year. But I think there's a problem with if it's still being a subset of broadcast budgets. What will really be an indicator for success, I think, for online video is when it's seen as a channel, a medium in its own right, and that when the planners are sitting down at the beginning of their planning cycles and allocating budget is set aside specifically for online video. That's when there'll be sort of true growth and the true potential of online video will be realised. If it's always seen as something that will come off of the broadcast budget, then by its very nature it's going to be limited in terms of how much scope there is to grow this medium ultimately.